Hi, my name is Lynette, and I am a career specialist here at the East Baton Rouge Parish Library Career Center. Today, I'd like to talk to you about professionalism in business meetings. Whether it's a job interview, a job fair, a networking event or opportunity, a meeting with a client, or even a meeting on the job, you want to make sure that you're presenting a professional image and obeying the proper etiquette do's and don'ts. To begin with, let me share my screen so that you can see what I see. All right, let's get right into it. You want to make sure that in your meeting, whether you're meeting a potential future boss, a networking contact, a client, whatever, you give a great first impression. One of the ways to do that is to make sure that you give them your undivided attention and that you're not distracted. The most common distraction that we see people have is their phone. So make sure that you stay off of your phone the entire time that you're with these people. You want to make sure that the way you speak gives a good impression. You want to speak clearly and using proper grammar. This isn't a casual conversation. This is a professional situation. So you want to be polite and friendly and not too casual, and you want to have enthusiasm in your voice. You want them to feel like you're happy to be here, you're energetic, and you're excited. And you want to just give the other person the impression that, as I said, you're happy to be there. You want to make sure that you seem eager to learn from them and to get right to work on what you guys are talking about. And you want to make sure that you have the right dress and the appropriate body language for a professional setting. We're going to talk in a little bit more detail about each of those. So this picture that you can see here, picture's worth 1,000 words. This is the same gentleman giving off the same body language, except that he's giving two entirely different impressions of who he is based solely on his clothing. The way that you dress says a lot to professional contacts about who you are as a person and as an employee. So you want to, in general, keep it pretty conservative and pretty formal. You want to make sure that you avoid anything that's too flashy or colorful, such as bright blue eyeshadow, 6-inch long fingernails, giant clunky jewelry, neon colored clothing. All of these things are usually a little bit too flamboyant for the workplace or for a professional meeting. You also want to avoid clothing that doesn't fit your body well. If your clothing is hanging off of you, wrinkly and saggy. If your clothing is too tight and you look squeezed into it and your buttons are straining. If your clothing is too revealing, that's not really appropriate for a professional setting. And in general, you want to avoid clothing that's casual. T-shirts, tennis shoes, yoga pants. Basically, if it's something comfortable enough that you could probably fall asleep in it, it doesn't really belong in this kind of a setting. Step it up a little bit. Make sure that the clothing that you wear is, in addition to fitting you well, is not torn or dirty or wrinkled or anything like that. Some good examples: khakis, polo shirts, dress shoes, or if you're in a manual labor field, work boots are totally fine. Slacks, dresses, suits, suit and tie is always the gold standard, but you don't always have to live up to that standard. For a lot of professional settings, khakis and polo shirts are fine. Let's talk now about body language. The way that you present yourself is going to influence people's opinions of you. This is going to include, as we discussed, the way you dress and the way you speak. But it's also going to include things like the way you move and behave and carry yourself. Let's look at a few examples. The handshake. When you are meeting with a professional contact, our general advice is that you want to give a good, strong, confident handshake. That's our general advice. But right now, it's tricky. Because right now, in the era of COVID-19, people are tending to avoid handshakes. So my advice is, in a professional setting like this, wait for the other person. See what they want to do. If they want a handshake, give them a nice, confident one. If they would rather elbow bump or keep their distance entirely, just go with their comfort level. Posture. This is something that instantly sends a message about your state of mind. Is the state of your spine. If you are nice and tall, this tells them that you are confident and that you are energetic. But if your spine is slouched, slumped over, bent to one side, hunched forward, these are going to send bad messages. It could be sending me a message that you're bored, or that you're scared. These are bad messages for you to give off in a professional setting. So you want to make sure you have good posture. This is going to involve pulling your shoulders back, pulling your chest forward, keeping your chin lifted, and in general, making sure that you're not leaning on anything else. You want to make sure that you are using your spine and your core to hold your body up. You're not relying on the chair or the armrest or the table. It's all you. Because all of this energy is coming from you, and that's going to give a great impression in a professional meeting. Eye contact. You want to make sure that you're giving steady eye contact in any sort of professional setting, because eye contact indicates trustworthiness. If you can look them in the eyes while you're speaking, what that says is that you believe in what you're saying. You feel confident in what you're saying. If you've ever heard the expression, "Look me in the eye when you say that," well, this is the kind of situation they're talking about. When you are, for example, in an interview and talking about the skills that you have and why you'd be a great fit for the job, if you can't really look them in the eye while you're saying it, they're not really going to believe that you really feel that you have those skills and that you would be a good fit for the job. It's not going to come across well. Smile. This is obvious sounding advice, but it can be difficult when you're in this setting and you're nervous and you're concentrating. There's a tendency to keep a very serious looking face. The problem is that this doesn't really come across well because in these kinds of settings, for example, in an interview, they want to find out whether they like you. In a job fair, in a networking situation, when you're talking to a client, one of the things on their minds is, do I like this person? Do I enjoy being around them and spending time with them? Would I want to spend more time with them in a professional setting? And if you look like a gloomy, grumpy Gus, the answer is going to be no. So smile, keep a nice, pleasant facial expression so that they know that you're the kind of person that they'd want to spend more time with. And finally, let's talk about fidgeting. Fidgeting is a lot of people's Achilles heel, mine included. I tend to get very nervous when I'm in a new or uncomfortable situation, and there's a tendency to fidget a little bit. I have to avoid this tendency, and so should you, because fidgeting is incredibly distracting for the person on the other side of the table. And it also says to them that you're nervous, that you're not confident in this setting. And that's going to mean that they're not confident in you. So please curb your fidgeting tendencies. It's fine to move, to gesture, to emphasize, but you want to make sure that the movements that you make are intentional and you're not just mindlessly jiggling your leg or tapping your pen or biting your nails or whatever. No. So this concludes today's video. If you have any questions about any of these topics, please give us a call here at the Career Center. If you liked today's video, please hit like, and if you'd like to see more from us, please subscribe. Thank you.